Sarah Martinez hurried through the busy airport terminal, her worn sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. She clutched her small backpack tightly, checking her phone for the third time in 5 minutes. Her flight to Chicago was delayed by 2 hours, which meant she would arrive late for her job interview tomorrow morning. The customer service position at a small marketing firm wasn't her dream job, but after being unemployed for 6 months, any opportunity felt like a blessing. The 24-year-old had scraped together every penny for this trip. Her last $20 sat in her wallet, carefully budgeted for a cheap meal and airport parking. Sarah came from a modest background in a small Texas town where her single mother worked double shifts at a diner to support them both. Despite their financial struggles, her mother had always taught her that kindness cost nothing and could mean everything to someone having a difficult day. As Sarah searched for an empty seat in the crowded waiting area, she noticed commotion near the departure gate. An elderly man stood alone, looking confused and distressed. His expensive suit suggested wealth, but his face showed vulnerability and fear. Other passengers walked past him, absorbed in their phones and conversations, seemingly oblivious to his obvious distress. The old man appeared to be in his 70s with silver hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He held a boarding pass in his shaking hand and kept looking around desperately. Sarah watched as he approached a busy businessman who barely glanced up from his laptop before shaking his head dismissively. The elderly gentleman then tried to get the attention of a young couple, but they were too engaged in their own conversation to notice him. Sarah felt her heart go out to him. She had grown up helping her grandmother navigate similar situations, and she recognized the look of someone who was overwhelmed and needed assistance. Without hesitation, she walked over to where he stood, despite knowing that getting involved might make her even later for her own connection. "Excuse me, sir," Sarah said gently, approaching with a warm smile. "I couldn't help but notice you seem a bit lost. Is there anything I can help you with?" The man's face immediately brightened with relief. "Oh, thank you so much for asking. Dear, I'm afraid I'm quite confused about where I need to go. This airport is so much larger than I expected, and everything looks the same to me." His voice carried a slight tremor, whether from age or anxiety. Sarah couldn't tell. "What's your destination?" Sarah asked, glancing at the boarding pass he held. "I'm trying to get to New York," he replied. "My grandson is getting married this weekend, and this is my first time flying alone in many years. My usual assistant couldn't accompany me today, and I'm feeling rather overwhelmed by all of this technology and these confusing signs." Sarah looked at his boarding pass and immediately saw the problem. "Sir, I think there might be some confusion. Your gate has been changed, and you're currently at the wrong terminal. But don't worry, we can figure this out together." The relief that washed over his face was immediate and profound. "You would really help me? I don't want to miss my grandson's wedding. It means everything to me to be there for him." "Of course," Sarah replied without hesitation. "Let me check the departure boards and see exactly where you need to be. We'll get you there in plenty of time." As Sarah studied the flight information displays, she realized that helping this gentleman would definitely make her miss her own connecting flight. However, looking at his grateful expression and remembering her mother's lessons about compassion, she knew she was making the right choice. Some things were more important than being on time, and this stranger's happiness was clearly one of them. Sarah spent the next 45 minutes guiding the elderly man through the maze-like airport. She discovered his name was Harold Whitman, and he shared stories about his late wife and his excitement about his grandson's upcoming wedding as they walked. Harold moved slowly, stopping frequently to catch his breath, but Sarah never showed any impatience or irritation. "You know, dear," Harold said as they finally reached the correct terminal, "you remind me so much of my late wife, Eleanor. She had the same kind heart and would always stop to help anyone in need. She used to say that angels come in all forms, and I'm beginning to think she was right." Sarah blushed at the compliment. "I'm just doing what anyone would do, Mr. Whitman. My mother always taught me that we should treat others the way we'd want our own family members to be treated." When they finally arrived at Harold's gate, Sarah helped him check in with the airline staff and ensured his seat was comfortable. She even bought him a bottle of water with some of her limited money when she noticed he looked thirsty. Harold was incredibly grateful and kept thanking her repeatedly, but Sarah insisted it was no trouble at all. "I can't thank you enough for your kindness," Harold said, grasping her hand gently. "You've turned what could have been a disaster into a pleasant experience. Tell me, what brings you to this airport today? Are you traveling for business or pleasure?" Sarah explained her situation honestly, the job interview, her long period of unemployment, and how this opportunity represented a chance to finally get back on her feet. She mentioned that she would now miss her connecting flight because of their detour, but assured Harold that she would figure out alternative arrangements. Harold listened intently, his expression growing more serious as he learned about Sarah's circumstances. "You sacrificed your own travel plans to help a complete stranger? That level of selflessness is extremely rare these days." "It's really not a big deal," Sarah replied, modestly. "There will be other flights, and hopefully the company will understand when I explain why I'm delayed. Your grandson's wedding is much more important than my little interview." As Harold's boarding began, he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card. "Sarah, I want you to have this. If you're ever in New York, or if there's anything I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to contact me. I mean that sincerely." Sarah glanced at the card and her eyes widened slightly. It read, "Harold Whitman, Chairman and CEO, Whitman Marketing Group." She had heard of the company before. It was one of the largest marketing firms in the country with offices in major cities across America. "You're the CEO of Whitman Marketing?" Sarah asked in surprise. Harold smiled warmly. "I am indeed, and I've been in business long enough to recognize exceptional character when I see it. You have something special, young lady, something that can't be taught in any business school." Before Sarah could respond, Harold's boarding group was called. He stood up slowly, gathered his carry-on bag, and gave Sarah a gentle hug. "Thank you again for everything, my dear. I hope our paths cross again soon." As Sarah watched Harold disappear down the jet bridge, she looked down at his business card again, wondering if she would ever be brave enough to actually contact him. She had no idea that this simple act of kindness had just changed the entire trajectory of her life. Sarah managed to catch a late-night flight to Chicago, arriving exhausted at her hotel well past midnight. She had called the marketing firm earlier to explain her delay, and thankfully they agreed to reschedule her interview for the afternoon, instead of the morning. Despite her fatigue, Sarah felt good about her decision to help Harold, even though it had complicated her travel plans considerably. The next morning, Sarah prepared carefully for her interview at the small marketing firm. She pressed her best blouse, practiced her answers to common interview questions, and arrived 30 minutes early. The interview went reasonably well, but Sarah could sense that the hiring manager wasn't entirely impressed. The salary was lower than she had hoped, and the position seemed to offer limited opportunities for growth. "We'll be making our decision within the next week," the interviewer told her as they shook hands. "We have several qualified candidates to consider." Sarah left the interview feeling deflated. After 6 months of unemployment, she had hoped this opportunity would be her breakthrough, but now she wasn't sure if she had made a strong enough impression. The flight home felt long and disappointing, and she spent most of it wondering if she would ever find a job that truly excited her. Back home in Texas, Sarah fell into her usual routine of job searching and helping her mother around the house. She applied to dozens of positions online but received few responses. The unemployment benefits were running low, and the stress of their financial situation was becoming overwhelming for both Sarah and her mother. 3 days after returning from Chicago, Sarah was surprised to receive a phone call from an unknown New York number. When she answered, a professional-sounding woman's voice greeted her. "Good morning, is this Sarah Martinez? This is Jennifer Walsh, executive assistant to Harold Whitman at Whitman Marketing Group. Mr. Whitman asked me to contact you regarding a potential opportunity with our company." Sarah's heart began racing. She had never expected Harold to actually follow through on his offer to help, and she certainly hadn't imagined he was serious about a job opportunity. "Yes, this is Sarah," she managed to say, trying to keep her voice steady. "Wonderful," Jennifer continued. "Mr. Whitman was very impressed by your character and would like to offer you a position with our company. He's spoken quite highly of your integrity and problem-solving skills. Would you be available for a phone interview with our Human Resources Department this afternoon? Sarah could hardly believe what she was hearing. Yes, absolutely. I would be honored to interview with your company. Excellent. I'll send you an email with all the details within the hour. Mr. Whitman specifically requested that you be considered for our management training program, which is typically reserved for candidates with extensive business experience or advanced degrees. However, he believes you possess qualities that are far more valuable than traditional credentials. After hanging up the phone, Sarah sat in stunned silence for several minutes. She had helped Harold simply because it was the right thing to do, never expecting anything in return. Now that small act of kindness had opened a door to an opportunity she never could have imagined. Her mother, who had been listening from the kitchen, came over and hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. You see what happens when you follow your heart and treat people with kindness? Sometimes the universe has a way of rewarding good people." Sarah spent the rest of the morning researching Whitman Marketing Group and preparing for her phone interview. The company was even more impressive than she had realized, with a reputation for innovative campaigns and excellent employee development programs. The phone interview exceeded all of Sarah's expectations. She spoke with Maria Rodriguez, the Director of Human Resources, who seemed genuinely interested in her background and potential. Rather than focusing solely on her work experience, Maria asked thoughtful questions about Sarah's values, problem-solving approaches, and long-term career goals. "Mr. Whitman rarely makes personal recommendations for our management training program," Maria explained during the interview. "When he does, we pay very close attention. He's told me about your encounter at the airport, and frankly, the qualities you demonstrated that day are exactly what we look for in our future leaders." Sarah felt more confident as the interview progressed. She spoke honestly about her challenges with unemployment, her desire to learn and grow, and her commitment to excellence in whatever role she might be given. Maria seemed impressed by Sarah's authenticity and genuine enthusiasm. "I'd like to move forward with an in-person interview," Maria said toward the end of their conversation. "Would you be able to travel to our New York headquarters next week? Of course, the company would cover all your travel expenses." "Absolutely," Sarah replied, hardly able to contain her excitement. "I would be thrilled to visit your offices." "Wonderful. I'll have Jennifer arrange your travel details and send you information about the management training program. Between you and me, Sarah, Mr. Whitman has never been wrong about people. If he believes in you, that carries significant weight here." The following week, Sarah found herself on another airplane, but this time, the circumstances were completely different. Instead of scraping together her last dollars for the trip, she was traveling as an invited guest of one of the country's most respected marketing firms. The company had booked her a comfortable hotel room and arranged for transportation to their impressive Manhattan offices. The Whitman Marketing Group headquarters occupied 15 floors of a sleek downtown building. As Sarah entered the lobby, she was struck by the professional atmosphere and the energy of the employees moving purposefully through the space. Everything about the environment suggested success, innovation, and opportunity. Jennifer Walsh met Sarah in the lobby and escorted her upstairs. "Mr. Whitman is looking forward to seeing you again," she said as they rode the elevator. "He's been telling everyone about your kindness at the airport. It's become quite a legendary story around here." Sarah's formal interview took place with several department heads and senior managers. Each person she met seemed to have already heard about her encounter with Harold, and they were clearly intrigued by someone who had made such a positive impression on their CEO. The questions were challenging but fair, and Sarah felt she was able to demonstrate both her potential and her genuine interest in joining the company. After the interviews concluded, Jennifer led Sarah to Harold's corner office. The space was elegant but warm, with family photos displayed prominently and awards recognizing the company's achievements and charitable contributions. Harold stood up from his desk with a broad smile when Sarah entered. "My dear Sarah." "Harold," exclaimed, walking over to greet her with a warm handshake. "How wonderful to see you again. You look marvelous, and I hope your experience here today has been positive." "Mr. Whitman, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity," Sarah said sincerely. Everyone I've met has been incredibly welcoming, and I'm amazed by what you've built here. Please call me Harold, he insisted, gesturing for her to take a seat. I want you to know that this opportunity exists because of who you are, not because I'm trying to repay a favor. What you did at the airport revealed your true character, and character is the foundation of everything we do here. They talked for nearly an hour about Sarah's background, her goals, and Harold's vision for the company. He shared stories about building the business from a small startup into a national corporation, always emphasizing the importance of treating people with respect and maintaining high ethical standards. Before Sarah left Harold's office, he made an offer that completely changed her life. Sarah, I'd like to offer you a position in our management training program, starting at a salary that I believe reflects your potential rather than just your current experience. This is a 2-year program that will rotate you through different departments, giving you comprehensive knowledge of our business. The salary Harold mentioned was more than double what the Chicago firm had been offering, and the benefits package included health insurance, retirement contributions, and educational opportunities. Sarah felt overwhelmed by the generosity and trust being placed in her. I don't know what to say, Sarah stammered, tears forming in her eyes. This is more than I ever dreamed possible. Say yes, Harold replied with a gentle smile. And know that you've earned this opportunity through your actions and character. We're investing in you because we believe you have the potential to become a leader in this industry. Sarah accepted the offer immediately, and within 2 weeks, she had relocated to New York City. The company helped her find a comfortable apartment and provided a relocation allowance to help with the transition. For the first time in her adult life, Sarah felt financially secure and optimistic about her future. The management training program proved to be both challenging and rewarding. Sarah worked in different departments every few months, learning about client relations, creative development, digital marketing, and business strategy. Her colleagues initially knew her as the girl who helped the CEO at the airport, but she quickly established herself as a dedicated and capable professional. Sarah's natural empathy and problem-solving skills, the same qualities that had led her to help Harold, made her exceptionally effective in client relations. She had an intuitive understanding of what people needed and how to communicate with them effectively. Her supervisors consistently praised her work, and she received excellent evaluations throughout the program. 6 months into her training, Sarah was assigned to work on a major campaign for a nonprofit organization focused on helping elderly individuals navigate technology challenges. The irony wasn't lost on her. She was now being paid to help solve the same type of problem she had encountered with Harold at the airport. This project feels like it was meant for me, Sarah told her supervisor during a project review meeting. I understand firsthand how overwhelming technology can be for older adults, and I have some ideas for making our approach more compassionate and effective. Her innovative suggestions for the campaign impressed everyone involved, including Harold, who made a point of attending the final presentation. Sarah's empathetic approach and creative solutions resulted in one of the company's most successful nonprofit campaigns, generating significant positive publicity and new business opportunities. As her first year at Whitman Marketing Group concluded, Sarah reflected on how dramatically her life had changed. She was no longer the unemployed young woman struggling to pay for airport parking. Instead, she had become a respected professional with a promising career trajectory and the financial stability to help support her mother back in Texas. More importantly, Sarah had learned that her natural tendency toward kindness and helpfulness wasn't just a personal characteristic, it was a valuable professional asset that could contribute to business success while making a positive difference in people's lives. 18 months after starting her position at Whitman Marketing Group, Sarah received a promotion that exceeded even Harold's initial expectations. She was named account director for the company's social impact division, a newly created department focused on campaigns that created positive social change while delivering business results for clients. The promotion came with a significant salary increase, a team of junior associates to manage, and the opportunity to shape the direction of an entirely new business unit. At 26 years old, Sarah was one of the youngest directors in the company's history, but her colleagues respected her leadership abilities an innovative approach to marketing challenges. I've watched you grow tremendously over the past year and a half, Harold told Sarah during their regular mentoring sessions, which had continued throughout her time at the company. You've proven that character and competence go hand in hand. Your success here isn't just about that day at the airport. It's about who you are every single day. Sarah's new role allowed her to combine her professional skills with her natural desire to help others. Her department worked with nonprofit organizations, socially responsible businesses, and community initiatives, creating campaigns that raised awareness and drove meaningful action on important issues. One of her first major projects as director involved developing a national campaign to help senior citizens adapt to digital banking and online services. The campaign featured real stories from older adults who had successfully embraced new technology, along with resources and support systems to help others follow their example. During the campaign development, Sarah often thought about Harold and how their chance meeting had led to this moment where she could help thousands of people facing similar challenges. The campaign became a huge success, earning industry awards and generating significant business growth for the social impact division. Harold, now in his late 70s, began gradually transitioning more responsibilities to younger executives as he prepared for eventual retirement. He frequently praised Sarah's work to the board of directors and other senior leadership, making it clear that he viewed her as having exceptional long-term potential within the organization. You know, Harold told Sarah during one of their conversations, that day at the airport, I thought I was just a confused old man who needed help finding his gate. I had no idea I was meeting someone who would become such an important part of our company's future. Sarah's success had also allowed her to significantly improve her mother's life back in Texas. She was able to help her mother pay off debts, make home improvements, and eventually leave the exhausting double shifts at the diner for a more comfortable part-time position. I'm so proud of the woman you've become, her mother said during one of their weekly phone calls. But I'm not surprised by your success. You've always had a generous heart, and now you're in a position where you can use that heart to help others while building a wonderful career. As Sarah looked toward the future, she felt grateful for the unexpected path that had led her to where she was today. A simple act of kindness at an airport had transformed not just her own life, but had positioned her to make a positive impact on countless others through her work. The lesson she had learned was profound. Genuine compassion and professional success weren't opposite forces competing for attention. Instead, they could work together to create opportunities for personal fulfillment and meaningful contribution to society. Her encounter with Harold had taught her that kindness wasn't just about making others feel better. It was about recognizing the fundamental connection between all people and the responsibility that comes with that recognition. Sarah's story became legendary within Whitman Marketing Group, shared with new employees as an example of how character and competence could create extraordinary opportunities. But for Sarah herself, the most important part wasn't the career success or financial security. It was the knowledge that she had remained true to her values while building a life that made a difference in the world.